I know you've got a lot of choices in running for president, but let me tell you something you won't have to be worried about with this guy. If somebody asks me about the Second Amendment, I don't go off and start talking about that I love to go hunting and been a lifelong hunter, but never had a hunting license. When a person tells you about their hunting, when you ask them about the Second Amendment, the problem is, look, I love to hunt, and I actually do have a license. And I actually do hunt. But that's not what the Second Amendment guarantees. The Second Amendment is about our freedom, the ability to protect ourselves, our families, and our property. And if we don't have an adherence to the Second Amendment, then we lose the capacity for the first one. I know that's important in New Hampshire, but just for the record, that's important in Arkansas too, and in the whole other places. And if some people start tinkering with the Second Amendment, then the next thing you know, we'll have some folks tinkering with the First. I'm glad we have the First Amendment. I'm glad you can go vote for anybody you want to. I'm glad you can speak your mind. I'm glad that you are able in this country to write a letter to the editor. And if you criticize me or anybody else, somebody's in office, you're not going to get arrested the next day for what you wrote to the editor. I mean, you have to be reasonable. You can't go out and disrupt something. But you have every right to say what you want. And what a great privilege it is. There are a lot of places on this planet where if you expressed yourself like some of you do on talk radio when you call in, you'd get shot. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen to you here because we have something that we value, and it's called liberty. And it's the greatest gift that any person ever gets. And our founding fathers understood that great gift, and they understood this. They understood that it didn't come from our government. The government didn't give us liberty. Government can only help to guarantee that we maintain it and keep it. But here's what they said when they created this nation. They said, we hold these truths to be self-evident. That means they're so obvious that anybody ought to be able to figure this out. That all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, which means nobody can take them away because they're impossible to alienate from us. And these rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the 56 brave men who signed that document did so knowing full well that if this experiment in government, unlike any that had ever been attempted, if it did not work out and their whole effort against King George and the tyranny of the mother country failed, that they wouldn't just lose some business or have higher taxes. They knew this. They would lose their lives, as would their families. They understood the gift of liberty. In New Hampshire, you understand it. Your state has as its motto, live free or die. It's a good motto. And I guess what I found out in New Hampshire is this. If somebody tries to mess with you living free, they will die. I get the picture. Your state actually ceded and declared its independence 6 months before the rest of the states did. This is the cradle of liberty and freedom in this great country. You helped give it birth. And that's why of any place on this entire country's landscape, you understand the enormous value that you have when you have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.